declaring war on the black women to go out there and date outside the race.
That sweet white nectar. Look, oh, that woman's body over there, that's a temple.
All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, sisters and brothers and comrades, and of course, most importantly, enemies. Here we go with the obligatory and inevitable interracial relationships episode. It's almost an embarrassment. No, fuck it. It is an embarrassment that in 2016, I have to say that between two polar opposite extremes of attitudes regarding interracial relationships in the black community, that in the middle, where common sense on this issue resides, that middle is but a tiny sliver, and the two attitudes take up the full spectrum on either sides regarding the issue of interracial relationships. Regarding the two attitudes, they fall on a left spectrum and a right spectrum, and I don't mean left in the conventional terms or right wing in the conventional terms. Just for image sake, stay with me. We're just going to go with what these two attitudes are. One, on the left spectrum, you have the people who actually think that a black person has no reason to feel that they can speak or act on issues in the black community or build in the black community if they are with a non-black person. The problem is, of course, if left up to these dumbasses who no doubt have same-race relationships, might not do a goddamn thing in the community to get shit done. I'm not saying all people who oppose interracial dating or marriage or anything who happen to be in same-race relationships are not building anything, but the majority of them who fit the bill often put a lot of energy into talking shit than doing anything. As I've said in episode 3, New Form Factor, Black LGBT and Black Liberation, moving our people forward really isn't predicated on us making families. And that's it. We have always made families, and worse, we have always made politically conscious families. And not too much has come out of that. So obviously we need more than just heteronormative formations in our community to move us forward. Now, number 2, on the right of the spectrum, black people who hate themselves so much and other black people that they feel that non-black people are a quote-unquote upgrade for just being non-black. So you have these individuals who, let's face it, if they think an interracial relationship is their ticket out of their blackness or out of the black community, then you'd think they'd shut the fuck up and just disappear. Yet for some reason, they won't go away. And worse, they just hang around the internet, constantly talking about how black women ain't shit and how black men ain't shit, and that's all they do. Side note, notice how these particular people, after all their rage and fury and noise, never seem to find a non-black person. I mean, most of them, I should say. And they stay around the diaspora, hampering it with their self-hating diatribes and negative energy. Just notice that. That's all. That's just an observation. Of course, both of these two diametrically opposed positions are extremes and can be detrimental for the black individual who doesn't have self-hate, but wants to work with their community, but they just so happen to be in an interracial relationship. I want to illustrate for y'all that there is such a thing as a well-balanced view on this. Let me tell you a little story about Jack, a 24-year-old African-American man, and Diane, a 24-year-old Jewish-American woman. Jack, after what was a great date in their 5th month of seeing each other, woke up and expressed that he was having serious feelings for Diane. He wanted to go forward with a relationship with her, but he felt that due to his political activism in his community, he was not going to compromise his work if he was going to be with someone who was non-black, if that relationship would become serious and move to a higher level. In other words, if this person, non-black person, would have had an issue with his political work, he was not about to compromise that, with that being the case. Diane replied saying that she agreed with that and that she was on the same page with her feelings for Jack, but she did ask him if he had issues with black women. She said further that she saw black women as allies and was not interested in being with a man who saw the women of his own community as his enemy and non-black women as his savior. Jack confirmed that he never had issues with black women. His attraction to Diane really had to do with who she was to him, and she confirmed the same feelings. And with hot, sewer-smelling morning breath, Jack and Diane made that sweet morning love. The end. I just love a good happy ending. Okay, let us move on. Anyway, you see my point? None of that shit about swirling as we see it talked about in social media should have anything to do with our people moving forward. It shouldn't have anything to do with hampering it at all. The graves are full of police brutality victims, drug addicts. Our missing resources in the community are things that are still happening nonstop. We need to deal with that in some way, either big or small, it doesn't matter. What I do know is the so-called pro-blacks and the uncle and aunt ruckuses of our community need to have seats and shut the fuck up, or change their attitudes, or both. This is the Garage Autonomist.